Let's get up this
I mean, it's
feedback
modern
code.
technology, right? So,
Well, and it's a Cal stream, so tech difficulties. It's just what happens.
I mean, those are features.
So, Qwerty, you're most active in chat. Volume relativity of me and Paulie, are we both about the same volume? Or anybody else? Doesn't just have to be Qwerty. I'd say yes. All right. Well, we can probably just get started and worry about the other shit later. So, I guess that's it, then, mate. Another one done, and another one run and done in the books. League LLC. How are you feeling after that's been? How are you feeling at the end of it?
Uh, well, I felt like it was a really successful run this time. Uh, Not that the other ones haven't been good, but this one felt like it had a slightly higher level of engagement, like throughout. So I thought that was really good because one of the older problems that's kind of hard to avoid is the longer it goes, just the more activity kind of tapers off. But this one, it felt like it stayed pretty high overall.
Yeah. Yep. Most people stayed kind of active. Most people stayed pretty active. Even and that's even despite some gaps starting to open up in the teams about the rankings overall, about where they come up the last sort of week or two. At least up the top, the kind of standings were pretty static.
Yeah, because for the most part, like the top half, like the top four stayed pretty much the top four throughout.
Yep.
There was a bit of change, but the top two, I think, was the top two, like the same through. Like once it got established, like after a week or so, I think they stayed and like maybe traded back and forth a little bit, but
Yeah.
then the
It
gap just slowly widened
was like week
week by
three or
week.
week four where group therapy and Oxley State were just kind of crossing swords and going back and forth with every PB, and then it kind of opened up just a little bit.
Yeah, but even like the center gap, and then like in the lower half, people were still like battling back and forth. Everyone was still like going at it.
Yeah, it was a bit of competition everywhere. I think New World Discord jumped about 3 places just by picking up one of the late weeklies in the last week. So, well, not even the last week, the last, the couple of extra bonus days at the end there.
Yeah, the actual last day they went ahead and pocketed that one, and it jumped them it jumped them like two spots. I think it was.
So I doubt anybody is watching this stream who doesn't know what the result is. But if they don't, group therapy captained by Yendis, also featuring bands. Perna. How did Perna not go until the second round? Like steal of the draft.
Absolutely, because that in the end that three-headed monster was too much to overcome. It was nothing but steady PB day in day out. Just an absolute machine, especially bands who might actually be a cyborg. Not entirely sure about that, but you can't turn the man off. He's just gonna keep producing.
Bands went full beast, and Craig, Red Screens, Door, and Ricky all chipping in a bit too. But they were the overall winners, followed by Oxley State, captained by Samo. Samo kind of went, I don't know, he just did one of his customary, I've had a rage quit, need a break. Had a healthy break over the last couple of weeks of league.
Right. Between grinding nothing but statty and work, sometimes you just gotta.
Need a breather.
I gotta take a step back. I gotta let that breathe for a minute.
Despite being in Bad Carl's team, I didn't manage to get Defection 5, so there's got to be
Yeah, what's up
something.
with that? I thought he was handing them out to
I'm
everybody.
pretty sure there's plenty of dupe videos out there, but none of us posted 5 during leagues, so
Like
despite that,
you could have even picked whatever language you wanted, and it would have been
still finished up
like
third. And then Project B actually got over the top of Backstrafe Boys for fourth. Backstrafe were holding third for a little while there.
They were Backstreet was in the mix for a while there for that top three, especially holding in the four, and then Project B off the back of like I think probably the last like 2.5 3 week surge, they caught up to him and overtook it at the end.
Yep. And Ace couldn't quite carry Liosco Airways any further than sixth on his own back.
Yeah, I mean, double-digit world record just not good enough. I don't know what to tell you. It was a good effort, you know. I can applaud your hustle, but hey, sorry, what I got nothing for you.
And then down into eighth, 9th, 10th, and 11th, we had New World Discord, Dirty Burger, Sheffield Speed Stars, and Chateau Fucked Us.
Right at the end, New World Discord pulling some chicane through, getting that last weekly and just sniping it. And so.
Well, actually, Yendis has got a point there in chat. You know, they're bookended. The teams are bookended by teams with no world records. So Group Therapy, no world records. No One Guides, Shadow Fucked Us. Oh no, Shadow Fucked Us had 2 world records. So the only team in league that had no world records was the one that won.
It's funny, isn't it? How do you like that? It's just like in F1, the team with the fast, like the driver with the fast slap doesn't necessarily win the race.
No, and in fact, based on last night, you don't even need 4 intact tires to be able to win the race. Apparently,
that's what I heard. I heard it was pretty wild.
That's the craziest end to a race for a while. That's for sure. Craziest end to a race for a while. So, I guess I might look over at who our MVP for league was, and it will have zero surprise for me if it's Will sitting up top. It is, although Bands came pretty bloody close.
Yeah, only
200 points, 230, 220.
221 back. So,
and then Ace there with the carry.
Ace, third overall. And I mean, he was there for a while, but even then, you see QWERTY's not that far behind, like just 130 off, basically.
Yeah. And as Light's saying, you know, Will didn't particularly start chasing league points at any point after about week 4. You know, you can see here that Bands has got 60 daily bonuses, that's like beast mode. That's a bonus a day.
That's outrageous. Like on average, one bonus.
Yeah. Will's sitting here MVP with just 30. So he wasn't particularly chasing league points, and just going sicko on Deep Sea.
No, if you were in the camp of you would give the MVP to like the most valuable player on the winning team, like you have to give it to Bands.
Oh, completely, yeah.
Day in, day out, 24/7 every single day.
There he is.
And also he let us use our bot. I wouldn't be biased.
The bot was very handy. And the SDES bot is really fucking cool, because we might talk about that in a bit later. But every time somebody posts an SDES time, up goes the post into our server to let us know that another time has been ended.
Yeah, and we'll probably get into it later, but lots of times were ended.
Lots of times were ended. But we'll go on sicko on like Deep Sea PA. Like, is there just something about that level that draws out people deciding to go like disgustingly grindy for it? You know, there's stories about the way that Jez got the Untied a few years ago.
Something about it. It must attract certain people, because it's a really fun stage. Like the start can be kind of frustrating, but once you get in a groove of it, you just kind of ignore it. And it's like, okay, I have to headshot these guards, and I have to wait for Elvis to work. But the second part of the stage is really super fun. You're doing these precise movements, and you're trying to aim through the wall and shoot these canisters, and like that aspect's really cool. But this level in particular has like a couple people, like you have like Jez and then Flicker and then now Will. It's like the people that really love this stage, they just go like crazy on it and they play it just nonstop over and over again until they get something like ridiculous. And Will's already there. What he posted 303 the other day.
Yeah, 303 on like a 1 minute flat Elvis. So yeah, lower is possible.
Right.
Lower is
So
possible.
I haven't watched that run, but if he got 303 with a 1 minute Elvis, the second half must be almost perfect. It must be ridiculous.
But yeah, so Ace, I mean, despite the fact that you wouldn't think that Ace's times page is particularly improvable, which is shown with a grand total of 2 daily bonuses, comes in third place.
Well, hey, world records are still strong, and so by that virtue, like untieds are strong as well. So if you stack them up as he did, like individually, you can still score really high because he was third and he was probably when he got the last like handful, he probably got third and just stayed there. There was a point in time where I think like Will was one, and then Vance and Perna were two and three,
Yep.
so they were both up there. But Ace was always in the mix. Like if he hadn't gotten bored or distracted or whatever, and just posted like 5 more records, he would have the most points just off of that.
Yep. Yeah. And then then we've got the 3K club. So QWERTY, Perna, and Colton all got 3K league points.
Yeah. So let's see.
What I think interesting about that, both QWERTY and Colton are basically half their points in GoldenEye. So they haven't just exploited the quote unquote free game. They've been playing a fair chunk of GE as well.
Well, that and well, we'll probably get into it, but I mean that shows you that the flat change is good because they just picked up the 25, even though they'd obviously both played GE plenty before this.
Yep.
So, like I said, it wasn't all just drawing from the PD. Let me have a look. It's like like percentage of points gained in PD. So for QWERTY it was 44%, and Colton it was 54%. So it's about even on both sides.
Yeah, and bet you take the average of that. It's 50% basically between the two of them. So still power in GE.
And also two first round picks, and then Perna a de facto first round pick.
Well, he did go first in round one, I think. Yendo picked him up with the 1-2 at the close of round one.
Spaguta had the 1-2, and then Yendo got Perna like right after.
Yeah. And then so Randy, like as second top scoring captain with 2,700 points, that's a good solo effort carrying the Dirty Burger.
Yeah, like 58 points. So basically 59% of his team's points, 49 daily bonuses, in the mix. And like Randy's a good player when he's into the games, and league's like a good time to get, into the games, because I know he loves playing in league because he was good. He was good last year, and he was good the year before that.
Yep.
And I would assume the year before that, if he played, he'd be good. So he always gets up for that, gets his game day face on. He's always in.
He's out for league. Absolutely. Although Yendis did go pretty close for next best captain. That's the top three. That's the three captains in the top 9, which is pretty good. And
part of the 2K club, respectable showing.
Sorry, top 8. I'm counting the rows wrong. Hot Coldman comes out for league.
It starts at 2 and not 1.
Hot Coldman comes out for league too, though. He was Riley was out for league last year. 54 daily bonuses. That's like second best, I think, in terms of the cash ins.
Yeah, don't sleep on Hot Coldman. He's a cooker. Don't let him sneak by you. Like, look at that, 54 daily bonuses for Hot Coldman.
Yeah. And then this year, Dr. Light, disappointing, top 10 only. Like, what is this shit, mate?
Only 2,300. Like, actually didn't even try. When you've been to the top of the mountain, like, what more can you do, honestly?
I tell you, I was really impressed by the boatman though. So, like, he's consistently got in there daily, over 30 daily bonuses. So he's done really well.
Yeah, and if if he kind of dropped off, or like kind of like what Will D started doing like his own thing at a certain point.
Yep,
It's like so he got 2100, like could have easily doubled that if he kept in it.
kept going
So
ham.
like absolutely could have been like in a top 10 scoring situation easily.
And let's see. I mean, I just want to look down a little bit further down the list to see anybody we kind of missed out or might have been a controversial pick. You know, there were a few gasps when Gamer Girl got picked up, but contributed, over 600 points. That's a good little turnaround.
Yeah, we got the cheeky 666 according to my watch.
That's the number that I've got as well. Slightly evil. Slightly evil.
So apparently sorceress on statue can just conjure up a FR. Apparently,
Just there it is. On demand. On demand.
so but she's uh like she got the. Does she have all of the quote boring four? I don't remember off the top of my head.
No, she doesn't have Archive 16, I think. I think she's got the
Okay,
rest, but no Archive 16. Started with Dan 53, obviously.
got the damn 53, but then like
She's
run
got
with 22.
22. I don't know if
Yeah,
she
22 didn't take long,
does she have
and
Bunker
obviously
117? Oh, of
23
course
didn't
she's
take
got
long.
17. She was in Speed Law last week.
Yeah, Bunker 117 didn't take long. Doing work on like things like facility, like definitely getting there, definitely good.
Kev got
Would have been Luke's darling pick.
did really well. Kev did really well with 960 points out of Aperture for a last round pick. That's pretty handy.
I mean, anytime you can get your roommate on side helps because you can just go in the other room and be like, "Hey, bud, like, I need you to get this for me. Do
Here,
this."
here, I'm top five. I'll show you how it's done.
It definitely helps.
Might be pretty handy to have a personalized coach.
But then I want to look at people like Fork. I mean, he got 1253.
Yep.
Wasn't even expecting to hear from Fork, but then came in and contributed mightily. Did really well for himself.
Samo with the deep pick. Yeah. I think.
And
Deep Darkness, 800 points. Sounds like more points than Deep Darkness has put out, and he didn't even play the whole league. He came in halfway through.
uh, I mean, 800 is good for a person who will tell you that's really bad at the game and doesn't know. The usual spiels like, I don't even feel like doing the bit. You understand
The
what's up.
speedrunner shtick.
Yeah, it's awful shtick. Can we do some new shtick? Can we come up with a new gimmick, please?
No, it's the same thing. We talked about F1 drivers before, but I've made the joke on stream about there's a Fry and Laurie sketch about Formula One drivers, and speedrunners are exactly the same. About
Okay.
how Formula One drivers will win the race, and then they'll just complain about how bad their car was the whole time. So speedrunners are the same. They'll get a PB, and then they'll just complain about how terrible their PB is because it didn't go perfectly. It's the
Like
same mindset.
imagine like what was it like a week or two ago at Hungary where the guy he had the lead from lap one and never lost it.
Yep.
He just completely dominated the race. And what if he got out, he took his helmet off in the game of the champagne and just be like, this track was shit. I hated it. I didn't take that turn like not one tight as I could. Like it was fucking terrible. And just be like, what are you
Exactly.
talking
Exactly. The car had understeer all race. It pushed.
about?
You won. You led every lap. Just shush.
Just
I'm.
like dude, no one wants to hear that. That's the thing.
That was when I knew I was a true speedrunner. Was when I got a fresh PB and I was like, this runs shit.
You're like, it was terrible. And then like that's when the live studio honest starts applauding and you like look at the camera and wink. You're like, yeah, I'm in now. I'm in the crowd.
Who else is coming? We talked when I was catching up pre-league with Spicy. We kind of talked about a few of the dinos that were about. So Golden Vince come in, delivered 380 odd points, and we also had some delivery from one Mr. Chris Rayola as well. So came in and did the business.
We also have Thomas Andrews.
Oh, of course.
So, like, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that it was they were around to participate, but B, it was a system where like they could jump in and they could tell everybody and like give everybody advice on like things they may have never played, even though they hadn't maybe not have played the stage in like a couple of years, but even still, like especially like someone like Expert, like hasn't played in like God knows how long, but
yeah,
still like knows stuff. So you could tell like Pogo or somebody like, oh, you're playing like Escape. Well, you should do this, and this is how we did it. And then they could take what he said, look at the more modern things, and kind of meld it together. And then their experience for the first time on a stage wouldn't be as awful as it might be.
Yeah, like I think there's some comments when we get to them in the thread about too many teams, but I think that's one of the best part of having so many teams is that we did get to go really deep in draft and got some of these less active players or players that haven't played for a while, getting them involved again. So that was cool.
Mm-hmm. We'll get into it more later, but I did like how deep it was. Maybe there's an alternate way like to do it and still be that deep, but we can get to that when we run down what parts in the thread.
Yeah, but any other players that you want to have a look at before we move along?
I'd like to give a shout out to Clobber for waiting for the day after League to start playing. I'd like to do that.
Just went beast mode on the day after League. Yep.
Yeah, because it's like he's like looking at his watch. He's like, "Oh, time's up. Well, okay, time to just just bang a couple out really quick."
Actually, like 400 points in League, and I reckon that what's the fastest way to get to Mr. There it is, because he's got an initial world record, so his times page pretty easy to pretty easy to get to. So 1st of August, Depot Secret Agent 41. Depot 00 40, 50 and 49, and a statue SA 221. So how much has he gained there?
What's the gains on that? So
he's gone from 51
and a 10 and a 23. So we'll call it 50, just at a rough estimate.
So just 20% of his league output in the one day after League.
I bet. It'd be like that sometimes. I don't know what to tell you.
You never know when motivation hits or the desire to play strikes.
You can't control when the wave comes in. You just have to ride the wave when it happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got anybody else want to highlight really quick? Let's see. Let's see. No, the rest of these players are terrible. I don't know.
They're all shit people as well. Terrible people.
Yeah. Like, everyone would love it if every one of them would block me on just I don't have to read their posts anymore. But no, like good shout to everybody for participating, making it great, and shout outs to Oxley and various other people like pulling down records that maybe they would have played for eventually, but definitely probably had that little bit extra speck of motivation. It's like, oh, we'll go ahead and just get it now, Because I don't know how you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to play for Depot 23, but QWERTY did. So I don't know what part of your brain makes you want to do that, but League probably does.
Yeah.
So if League made them play for it even like 0.1%, then I'll take full credit for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what possesses somebody to want to warp either, but 26 not long for the world. 26 going to be gone soon.
We're down to what, 7,
Something like
6?
that. Yeah.
It's not much.
Nah, no.
Why
It's had
am I
three
asking?
had 3 or 4
Why am
hits
I
in the
asking
last
you
week
that?
or
Like I
so.
don't have internet, and I can just get it with a couple
Six
clicks.
points.
Smart.
Chat tells us.
There we go. Okay, guys, get it down to 1, and I'll play for it. And if any of you like unhoard the 24 while I'm doing that, you're banned from league. But yeah, no, I do need to do that.
That would be very unseamy to hoard a 26.
It would be, but listen,
To hoard the 26 killer.
you you look up and see the sword of Damocles. It's just holding there, just hanging. It's gonna drop.
But go for 25 old strap beatdown says, yeah, that's doesn't. I think I'd rather warp. I
would a whole lot rather work, because then you're just farming a cutscene on agent. Like, oh, that's awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I did it for my 26 like 2 years ago because I thought I would need the boost
Boost
to get
slaving.
26. Listen, so you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So,
I used 2.x to get my first 26 back in the day.
yeah, same. I had to hit the B button with my face. You know?
That's right.
My brain couldn't comprehend holding 2 controllers. I had to just hit the B button with my head. So listen, like I said, you have to do what you have to do.
Got to do what you got to do. And you got the end screen.
I did. That's all that matters.
So overall, I think there's some good output there. I was happy with the competition and how it all went. It wasn't a complete blowout. There was teams like there seemed to be just these little setups of teams where there was groups of 2 or 3 teams that were all closely kind of evenly matched, even as they kind of spread out at the top, and you knew who was going to be probably in first and second. It wasn't completely sold on which team was going to be where.
Right, because it kind of like the top for a while, like the top 4 or 5 were in it, and then it kind of shrunk to 3, and then for a brief moment it expanded out to 4, and then it eventually knocked down to 2. But even on those upper mid and then the mid and then the low, even there was
Yeah, I mean,
at any given time there's 2 or 3 teams like going back and forth with each other, like no matter where they were at in the tier, like in the point wise, they were just going into it.
well, between at the end, we got 8th, 9th, and 10th are between 4,608 points and 4,712. So 104 points covers 3 teams. You know, just pretty tight.
2-3 times either way, and it would have been like a huge upswing. Like someone would have jumped 3 spots. I mean, you saw NWD jump 2 spots on the last day just because they got the week one.
So if I jump across to the feedback thread,
all right,
have a look through there. I can skip through the first post because we probably already know what that fella wants to talk about. But actually, no, I will pick up on one of my talking points. Investigation Agent was like the perfect day one bonus just to suck people in. You know, like it was a really, really good stage for that. So imagine if it was Deep Sea Agent or Deep Sea Special Agent or something that was kind of locked to PAL only.
Oh, that would have been a blunder.
Would have been the reverse. So it's worthwhile.
Like day one's Dan 53 and like Deep Sea Agent. It's like, well, everyone already has this one, and the other one they can't play. So it's a great start. Yeah, that was the perfect PD level to get day one. Like you would, and it was just a truly like random luck of the draw. You would think that would absolutely be picked like on purpose, but no, that one was actually random. So
worthwhile cherry picking, I think, for next year off the back of that, because or the first, depending on where the first weekend day falls or anything like that. just to build the league hype.
Yeah, maybe day one should be like should intentionally make it like MBR or something that anyone can just boot up from scratch and get a nice little like 40, 50, 60 or something. It's like, oh, this is great.
Hang on, you have a
Just get the
pulse. You can get MBR points.
yeah. All you have to do is just do one trick, and then
Yeah, Cass match doesn't
well,
complete.
if you can get her to cooperate,
Yeah, it's too bad there's
if you can get
no GE equivalent.
no,
I mean, we just need to tell you what we need to do is we just need to find the Nat skip, and then control will be like that.
oh god, what absolute chaos that'll be! Like, just, I'll go to bed one night, right, and it'll happen, and I'll wake up and it's like, oh, 55 untides happened. What the fuck? What happened? What happened while I was asleep?
What do you mean that they've just shaved 10 minutes off the total GE time? They found the warp on control.
Like that, or let's see, what would be? No, there's nothing. There's nothing I can think of in GE that would be as potent as that if it was found.
No, no.
Not even if they just found some way to like you load up jungle and Xenia just actually just falls over dead instantly.
That's the
You
Xenia
don't have to
mind
fight.
strat.
Oh yeah, good point.
That's the Xenia mind strat. Yeah, at the start of the level, you Arlene a mine into Xenia, and then you just run to the end.
You know, someone will probably try this eventually. They eat the mine and then it blows her up off screen, and it's some weird thing where if she takes damage in the frame she spawns, she just instantly dies or some bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
something outrageous like that.
I could see that. Like, there's a parallel universe of jungle, but 3 layers below where the level is offset, and you can throw the mine down below your feet and blow Xenia up.
Bands is probably playing that version of the level right now.
I forgot Vans would go back to play jungle at the end of all of this. And he's had 2 months to go and play other levels in the
Yeah,
game.
he's like,
Back
all
on
right,
jungle.
had my 2 month vacation there. I play every level every single day, and now I'm gonna go back to jungle. That's Bands.
So I'm having a look at Flickr's post now. So new players try out tons of different levels, which I will completely agree. I actually from a personal standpoint, I enjoyed League more this year because I actually had enough skill to jump around and pick up levels and learn them in a day and do it that way. Whereas last year I was still too new to be able to do that. So my PD times page is far more spread out than what it was compared to last year.
Mm-hmm. And that's good for that because, like in League, most people just see like, what's the daily? Oh, okay, I'll go try it. When any other day, if you had never played like Escape Perfect Agent before, what would possess you? Just I'll just wake up and play it.
Yes,
you would never do that. Like a GM player would never do that. It's like, oh, like
no,
unless you're Guinness, like Guinness really likes Escape, but 99% of people are not going to be like, I don't play this game, so I should go play like one of the most technical stages in that game right now on the hardest difficulty. Like no one would do that. But in League A, if you just get a completion A, you get paid. So
yeah. Look, the only reason why I would complete Escape PA runs is just to get just put the Pina Colada song over the top of it. That's all I want to do.
Why are you leaking what I want to do? I've been thinking about that for like 6 months.
I just want to. I don't even want a good time. I just want a time worth points and put music on it. I'll drop this. You have this little 5-pointer that's got the world's best song ever over the top of it.
Get my boy Rupert. I forgot his last name, but just get him on the track. What I would want to do is so you start it with that song, right? And then it gets to the cinema, and then you just cut it, and you're just like, you cut it, but the camera's like looking at the movie maker. You're just like, no, that's way too cliche, dude. I can't do this. And then you put on like Escape from Sonic Adventure 2 for the end part. That would be the way. That would be the way to do it.
Hey, are we supposed to talk about a horde this publicly?
Talk about what?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What else have we got here? Like, so established players will play levels they actively dislike. Correct, because
Yep.
they have an incentive to do it. So that's very true.
And the flat bonus is like doubly incentivized that, which is great.
Yeah, because again,
You
if
just
you have a pre-existing PR, you just have to beat it, and
Yep.
it's fine.
Doesn't matter if it's terrible, just beat it.
It doesn't matter if it's great. It didn't bother Ace. I mean,
Yeah.
so like, what's your if Ace can beat his PR? I don't know what your excuse is.
What's Fletcher saying? 2 months is the correct time frame, which I think is about right. What are your thoughts on the 2 months, like the duration?
Well, 2 months is nice, and 2 months is nice and clean, mainly just because if you do like that daily system, you get everything in. But 2 months seems like the right amount of time because there's drop off, but it's not like insane levels of drop off. It's not like the other one, which was 4 or 5 months long, where by like month three there was probably like less. There was probably like five, six, seven active people on a daily basis.
Yep.
So that's way too long because I didn't mind it, but most people don't. The only way you would do it better is if you could do it in like a month and just make it rapid fire, bang, 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 like let's go, and maybe that'd be the most. It'd probably be the most like competitive because for a month straight, there's not enough time for most people to get burned out, so you'd be fully engaged the entire time. But then a month isn't long enough to like do interesting and like cool stuff. Like you couldn't you couldn't fit like all these weeklies in a month. Like there's no
Yeah.
way to do it. You'd have to make them like a day instead of a week, which that really restricts like what idea you can come up with. Because one weekly that I think everyone universally liked was the checklist where you had to beat a level from every like mission.
Yep. That was a great one.
Like
Really good.
everyone across the board seemed like they really like that one, but you can't do that in one day, like realistically.
No.
Like you could, but then you're going into the philosophy of just like, oh, I just want one person to do this instead of like a team effort. So you'd have to do it that way, and I don't like that philosophy
Yeah.
because that's why most of the changes are like team focused.
Yeah, the team style weeklies worked out well. I mean, the other thing that I guess you could do is you'd almost need to have like a weekly bonus and a fortnightly bonus. Then if you were trying to condense it down into a month, but even then you'd only have like two fortnightly bonuses to get to the end of the month and it's done.
Yeah, you just have to compress it like in that manner, and I think 2 months is long enough. It's long enough to like let it breathe and more people can jump in. Because if you just like if it's just a month, like there's not even time to like swap people in and out for like drops and whatever.
Yep.
Like the time doesn't exist. It's just gone. So
Yendis and QWERTY are in chat reminding me of the one of my favorite moments of League, which was Samo completed attack ship agent.
listen, that stream is a fucking highlight. It's the best. That's going back to like people would play levels they hate or would never play. That would have never happened if this didn't exist.
It was not just a
Not
level
ever.
that he hates; it's the whole game.
It's an entire game that he hates, and I mean, I mean, it's super frigate basically. When you get down to
Yeah,
between Elvis and the ending. Now, it's well, I can't even say it's not as troll as frigate. It's just worse in a different way
yeah, yeah.
because the other one never completes, but this one completes. But then it's like how you get a 30 ending. Take that. Awesome.
Yeah,
But
it's
no, that stream was incredibly powerful, and like I should just that should just be the crown jewel of the whole thing. It's like, what are the highlights? Like, bam, just watch this 2 hour stream or however long it was.
big highlight of all of League. Yeah, the Samo Sammy. And so now the other thing about that is he's ruined the opportunity to go for the PD PTR champ. He needs 224 to get bopped to 0 before he can be the PTR champ in PD.
How much is 224 worth? I don't know if that's going to be a while or not.
I think it's like 18 or 20 points or something.
That might be a while.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh no, it's 27.
27.
Oh, that's going to stick to the ribs for a minute, I think.
Yeah, it might be 2025 before that loses points.
He might he might be full time Action Girls racing streamer in 2025. He might not even play it again.
Look, if what's his face, Liquid Wi-Fi can turn Simpsons Hit and Run into a full time stream, why couldn't Samo make Action Girls Racing a full time stream?
That's actually incredible. I gotta tip my hat for that. That's actually incredible. How did he pull that off? I can only tip my hat.
So yeah, 2 months is about the right time. The weeklies worked really well. A few things could be improved. I'm reading here from the or Battle for Bikini Bottom. Exactly, that's the other one I was thinking of. Ben, I couldn't get it to the tip of my tongue. League still doesn't reward world records probably enough, which going back to the sheet for a moment, Liosco Airways got 17 world records, 11 of which were untied, and they parlayed that into a sixth place finish. But I guess to as a contrapoint to that, their round one pick did contribute a grand total of 308 points.
Yeah. So like as it stands right now, like if a team was playing for all world records, that would be a viable strategy if it was a full team of like, this is what we're going to do and this is how we have to win. So it still could have been done, because if if Swiss and Elu had just posted like 5 world records each, they would have spiked up to like what's 6,000 now. They'd be in 8,000, 9,000 at the very least. So
Yeah,
I mean, if someone were to say like the world record is what they are right now, like would you give them a modest buff? Like looking at it, I mean, it'd probably be reasonable, just like a little bit, but not like
nothing
not like
insane.
double it, not that kind of deal, and not really like. I wouldn't put in like doubling like the bonus for like an untied, because like I like rewarding an untied, but that's just that opens up like a huge like possible like gaping hole in like the side of the wall, and it's also like it's not the entire point of League.
That was a point I was exactly about to make.
untied.
Like if you start skewing towards world records, then you're going to be skewing people away from playing new levels. So they'll spend more time just grinding out a sick world record rather than picking up all the little random levels that come along and doing that.
Which I'm fine with, because if you make your team where you should either, the way it is right now, you should either have a team that's like, I have 4 or 5 people that we're just going to go in and we're going to target this and this. We're going to play like these dailies going for it. And if you have that one guy that's like, I'm just going to be sitting here trying to crank out home runs, just trying to get some work. Like that could work. Or you have to say, we're five highly skilled people. We're going to go for nothing but records because the skill on Liosco Airways is fucking incredibly strong.
Insane. Yeah.
Like, I mean, so Ace did his thing, and I'm pretty sure everyone figured that would happen. Maybe not, maybe not to that degree, but even still, it's not. No one's looking at the records he got in this league and say, "Oh, I can't believe that happened." No, everyone believes that happened. That's reasonable.
Yep.
But if Swiss posted 5 records, no one would have blinked. If Alou posted it, no one would have blinked. Henrik could probably do anything, especially on train.
Henrik was one of the picks of the first half of the league. He came out and dropped 1,000 points real quick.
Oh yeah, and if he had played every day, if he had did what Bands did, he would have been right up there with them.
Yeah.
He'd have like 3K, 4K easily.
Absolutely.
And like,
I mean, Ace still got 3,000. Well, you got third in the individual point ranks. So it's not that he hasn't done his job. It's just the rest of the team haven't carried or hasn't picked a good team. That's the straightforward facts of it.
Yeah, that's if you look at the rule book, the way it is currently constructed, then yeah.
One of the I'm not sure if it comes up in the feedback thread, but one of the things that's kind of just popped into my head was B Down. Here he came in as a super sub for a week and scored 300 odd points, 350 odd points or something in just a week's worth of playing. Is there a way to encourage something like that? Like for people who don't have a month to commit but can join for a week and chase down, because that's
there may be some room for something like that. It just happened to work out for that because Kaido messaged me and he's like, look, I'm going out of town for a vacation for a week. Can we work something out? And it's like, well, yeah, we can work something out. Just like why should I have to punish you and your team just because you're going out of town? Plus, you told me you didn't just run off, so you asked. I was like, yeah, we can work something out like that. And then B Down slid in because I know at the start, B Down's like, I'm going to be busy. I can't play to that degree. But then he's got the slid in for a week, did his thing, contributed. It's good. So there's probably an avenue for something like that. I'm not sure off the top of my head how you could make it work, but it's there definitely.
So scrolling down into Ace's point, the What Weekly comes up again, which was a great idea. Whoever came up with that one, I really enjoyed the What Weekly. I didn't manage to contribute one, but it was a cool idea.
Well, I'll tell you who came up. I actually came up with that while I was cutting the grass. I was just sitting on my lawnmower, and I was like, I need one more good one. And I went through everything. I was like, we can't do RTA. I can't do a cut bracket because that sucks. That's too much work to logistic it out. And then I don't know if I looked in the server or whatever, or if it just came in my head, and I was just someone typing what, and it's whatever pops up, they're not going to play it, and then it just hit me. I was like, that's it. That's what I have to make it that, and they have to play it then.
And
that's how I came up with that idea.
Bringing Turbo back, Wowder's got to be happy with that.
Oh yeah, no, Wowder's got to be big happy that Turbo came back. And I was like, okay, so we'll make it the weekly. And then I was like, what if LTK or whatever comes up? And I was like, nah, it's too bad. They have to play it.
Just play it. Yeah. And I liked how it just had its own point system outside of it. That way it didn't matter. You didn't need existing PRs. Doesn't matter. Any completion as long as it's achieved on today. That's what made it work too, I think.
Yeah, because I liked it because it was in isolation.
Yeah.
But I was actually nervous about it because you never know what people will take to and what they won't. Because I was like, this could come out and it could be great or it could be a complete flop. I don't know because you just never know. So it was actually going to happen later in league, but I was like, I moved it up because I was like, I want to get this in while most people are still engaged
Well, we got the
because
hot.
eventually like drop off's kind of unavoidable.
Yep.
But I was like, I want to get this in while it's engaged because I want to see if it's good and if it works. And if people liked it, then I know it worked. Because if it worked, then I can keep it and tweak it a little bit and make it better. But I think it was one of the favorites of league overall. So I would call it a success.
So if Bands makes a bot that has what in it and puts it on his own server, does it just respond with jungle?
Yeah, I tried it. It only spit out jungle, which was very strange.
Odd.
I even I typed what PD and then it said play jungle agent. I was like, this is very strange, but I had to play it. Like
That's,
now, I just want to give a shout out to Buddha really quick, who worked amazingly every day with no problem for like 3 months. Then I came up with that idea, and then league started, and then it was down like every other day, and I was like, oh,
yeah, it was perfect.
this
Perfect timing.
this would not have happened if I hadn't to come up with that idea. So it was a bit touch and go for like 2 days. But then when it got back up, I was like, all right. I was like, I need a private channel now. I need to get all of these now. Like, I might not get it again.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out. Let's see. Dedicated Discord bot. Now, something like that would be pretty cool. Something like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And I know, like, Spaguda's, he wanted to do something. He wanted to do something similar to that. I don't know to, like, what scale. But to build, like, a system like that, where it's more automated and less manual, and you could do things like that. Now, then he got busy with work and he couldn't do it. So it's like, well, that's not a problem because we know how to do it using the spread. Like
Yep.
this is the second year with us. We're pretty good at it now. But something like that would be neat, but it would just be take time to develop it. And since I'm good enough to like get my graphing calculator to work. So I'm not the man to like code a bot. So I need someone to code it for me. So that just takes time. Maybe down the line, like maybe next year, like there'd be time to make it and we could have something like that.
Yeah.
But that would be cool to have, certainly.
Yeah, that'd be cool if we, bot posts into the league channel when there's a new league PB. Effectively, would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just scrolling through. Yeah, so Ace has talked about monthlies or fortnightlies as a different incentive to play something, which might probably ties up in one of the points that I raised as feedback was like as boring as they were last year. Some of the weeklies around having agent levels or SA levels or 8 levels under 30 seconds or something. As a completely new player that wasn't able to go out and chase every daily, that kind of gave me a bit of direction of what I wanted to play for that week. When it was under 30 seconds, I could say, okay, I want to go get Archive 16 this week and chase after that, for example. So that might be an opportunity there to use the kind of monthly or fortnightly to help direct some of those players with something to play.
Yeah, I think like in a 2-month thing, like I think a monthly would, if you could come up with some good ones, I think that'd be a good thing to like slot in
Okay.
to have as an additional thing you can do, something to keep track of.
Yeah.
Or fortnightly, because every 2 weeks it's about like it's 8 full weeks, and then the 9th week's kind of short the way it usually hits. So maybe like if you were to appropriate like the weeklies that we didn't do, like all agent or all whatever, like if you could do something like that for like, okay, that's a 2-week stretch. Well, that's a good possibility.
Yep.
That you could work that in. I know I mentioned this before, but in that vein, what I want to do in the future probably is those bonus stars you get at the end of like Mario Party.
Yes. Yep.
So I was thinking like you could put something in like that. So like whatever team has the highest score. So like if it was Will this time, like, oh, your team has the highest score, like we'll pay you out 1,000. Or which team got the most like dailies? Oh, it's this team. That's 1,000. Like you could come up with things like that.
Yep.
That'd be like a neat thing, like an end goal you can see that you could work for.
I always feel like those Mario Party stars come out of nowhere. You got no idea who's going to win them until they've already been won.
Well, for that, you could do that. I could be evil and make them and just like, okay, they're in there, but I'm not going to tell you
Exactly.
what the parameters
Yeah.
are. So then it's like, so you could do it that way, or you could just pre-announce them, and that's just another thing on the checklist you could keep an eye on. It just depends on, if you want to be nice or just be chaotic, you can
Yeah.
just pick one.
I guess the only contrapoint to either of those is the system seems to be reasonably well balanced at the moment. So if you start skewing that with adding in more and more bonuses, then do you take away some of that balance? Do you lose that balance?
Well, I think it's good in general to have like a good have a good system, like a good foundation scaffolding, and then if the system's good, then that leaves you room to like experiment and do things that are kind of wacky and out there. But as long as you don't do too much of it, then it doesn't like break anything. So like we could have made even crazier like weeklies, but you never want to like because the scoring system changed a lot between this year and last year,
Yep.
and it could have done more. But you never want to like. What I don't want to do is like overcorrect or overchange something. So I don't want to because you don't want to. I don't want to go from like A to like E, right? So I change it from A to B, and then that way you can see like in isolation, like, oh, this works, but this didn't. Let's tweak that, and then we're at C, and it's like, okay, does this still work? Does that work? Then you can eventually get to where you want to go. So I like the room for experimenting because you can push that out, and if it's great, then you can keep it, and if it's not, well, we can either tweak it or scrap it. But if you do too much at one time, then you might as well just be guessing because you don't know what's actually working.
It sounds like you're applying science there, mate.
I mean,
Do you wear a mask when you go outside?
yes, I do.
Oh, terrible.
I do. Listen, I have a. There's a Bachelor of Science in the other room. I don't know what to tell you.
For avoidance of doubt, masks are good. I'm just trying to.
Very good. Don't play with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Scanning through the BK post here, seeing if there's anything new. I think last time we caught up, I mentioned how much fun I had chasing down those last couple of PBs to get the missions weekly. I felt like a god gamer waiting at the bottom of the ramp just to frame perfectly Arlene into the boat. Like that was just.
Listen, that was one of my favorite things was you waiting at the bottom of that ramp to go in at the last second, get completing and getting the 115. It's like, hey, we got it.
I was so stoked with that. Like, I felt.
Was that on the last day as well, or what was
it? Was on the last day, yeah.
Yeah, see,
it was
that's great.
It was. I got that at like 10 o'clock at night, which was probably 14 hours left, but yeah, it was perfectly timed. Perfectly timed. I haven't actually read through the later posts that are in here, so I'm going to have to scan through these and see whether there's any different points that we haven't.
While you do that, I'm gonna jump back to something that Ace posted.
Oh, cool! Please do.
So while you skim that, so he was asking about so the flat bonus is plus 25 if you just PR and like no matter what, and he said, and I think Fletcher said something to it as well, but there was somebody that said it where it's like some of the higher tiered ones, like, is it possible that you could get a bonus for like if you were to say like cut silo 102 to like 101 was like something higher up there, could it be scaled in some manner to get like a little bit more to like incentivize that more?
Yep.
And
I mean,
my answer to that would probably be like maybe, because again, what I mentioned before is because I had thought about that, but I wanted to put in like just the flat system, first to see if it was successful and it worked, because I didn't want to like change too much at one time, because then you can't really see where the flaws are if you just take extreme leaps
yep.
in the other way. Because if it went the other way and it didn't work, it's like, well, what works better? Because I have this that people don't like, and then this thing that other people don't like. What do people like? Scaling it would probably be messy.
Yeah, it'd be really
Because
messy.
I can't really think of a way to do it off the top of my head without being super arbitrary.
Yeah, you'd have to come up with
Because
some sort of arbitrary tiering system where a silo 101 is worth, X.
yeah, and let me just state again for the record, I fucking hate tiers. I hate it so much. It's so like obviously we could say that P2 essay like 136 and like runway like when it was 22. Like let's say runway essay 22. Those are not the same. Like we
Yeah.
obviously know those are not the same. But when you get to like when it's a matter of like millimeters, where it's like, okay, well, which one's a tier 4 and which one's a tier 5? I don't fucking know. Does it really matter? Like at that point, like if it's that close? So like that would introduce like subjectivity, and this also like if we went through every stage in the game and see what was like 90 points flat, those are not all the same. Well, those are definitely not all the same. So you just start getting into like a weird territory that it may be possible to do, but I don't really like it. But maybe if you sat around with people and thought about it a while, you could come up with something. But sitting here today, I wouldn't do it out of the gate. I'd say that for a fact.
Well, and the other thing is, like with all of that tiering and subjectivity, right? Like what's easy for some people is difficult for others, and the reverse. So, just
Correct.
the same way that I don't know. I'm trying to think of an extreme example, but somebody like Wally is far easier to get a world record on runway 00 than just about anybody else in the world, because he actually understands how the R taps work and getting that right, whereas anybody else would be starting from scratch to try and get that, or a 20 runway 29, I guess, is probably a good example of that. It wouldn't get a world record bonus. It'd be worth the 97 points and the point gain that it'd get to go from presumably 39 to let's say runway 30. He's gone 2 seconds slower
Yeah.
than the world record. But
Right.
it's
And then you take like BK, who's allegedly bad at every level he plays these days. I mean,
he's
how do
a
I
terrible player, that BK fellow.
yes. I can't even mean by this. It makes me angry.
Is he top 5 yet?
So, no, not quite. But he's the worst. He's the worst top 5 player I've ever seen. Like just absolutely terrible. He'll tell you so. He's awful.
He's 6th. He's 6th.
But yeah, so you take like someone, like some random, like some, I say random, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
just anybody could be like, oh, like in their brain, like Arlene's makes perfect sense. I can do them whenever I want. And then, someone that in your brain like is pre-established, like this person's great. They're just like, I don't get it. So everyone just has different mindsets and skill sets. So it's hard to like standardize that. And I don't really want to either.
So I guess scrolling through the next few posts, the thing that kind of stands out is pretty much everybody loves the flat bonus structure. which is good because I wholeheartedly
Mm-hmm.
agree. It's a good change. But there's a few contrapoints to the What Weekly. So,
Mm-hmm.
so Ted, for example, didn't enjoy the What.
Well, I mean, I can understand. I can understand why I'm. You know, it's not your bag. You know what I mean? But when when 60 people tell me it's great and one person tells me they didn't like it, I kind of have to go with the 60. But I mean, not everyone likes everything.
That's it. That's it. Not everybody's going to always like it. Here's the controversial point amongst all of this, though, and I have a feeling that Samo would approve of this one, which is split Goldeneye and Perfect Dark into separate leagues. You had a halftime and a changeover.
Mm,
So do 4 weeks of Goldeneye, then 4 weeks of Perfect Dark have a halftime change.
mm. Okay, well, I don't really like that, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. Um, because oh shoot,
If you need to
let me
take a
take
phone
that real
call,
quick.
take a phone call.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll be right back.
So now it's just me and you chat because I don't have any gameplay plugged in or anything. So I'm here to answer all of the 3 questions that will come up in chat. Being banned on day one, yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree. Deep Darkness, I see what you mean. Like getting banned. End of a game, Overwatch. See the play of the game. Ooh, now that is a hot suggestion. Play of the game. So like effectively, what we could set up there. I'm gonna wait for the man to come back to point this out. I'm gonna wait for the man to come back. But I like this. So like you could set up a poll at the end of every week. That is a hot suggestion.
Right.
So I've welcome back. I've been
Yeah.
coerced by chat to scroll to the bottom of the feedback thread where Yendis has a hot suggestion. So I'm just going to read it out in case you're not there. At the end of the game of Overwatch, you see a replay of the play of the game. So if we had some system that decides the best time or the best 3 times each week and awards that player with 100 plus or bonus points, Paulie could choose someone fitting in choosing in secret like Green or Vito or Icy who didn't play but was able to judge times, or we could just pick a winner each week, or whatever time's worth the most points. Or the idea that I just came up with on the fly there is you could make a forum poll for it, but I guess forum poll is potentially skewed. We'd have to hope that people played nice with what's the best time. It'd be similar to Boss's best world record of each year poll.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I can see how that would incentivize further there. And I guess particularly if you remove world records from that, then that's a potential idea.
That could be like a fun thing because like for example like Sports Center, like at the end of the week they count like, oh, these are the top 10 like plays of the week. You could do something like that, have them pick the best time. Like, yeah, that could be cool. That could be a way to go in. That could be something you could do. So that's not a bad suggestion.
Yeah, and as long as it's like independent subjectivity, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
I think that's not a bad idea there, Yendo. I think that's not a bad
No.
idea.
You'd have to get if you were to make a panel like that, like Yeah, just try to make it as objective as possible. Yeah, which varying degrees on everyone's got biases and all that. But I mean, hey, you could make it work.
Yeah, you could, but I also think like all of those three players that Yandis mentioned, they're highly respected and played
Yeah,
enough
certainly.
across
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
games that you just whatever their decision is what their decision is, and just deal with it.
Yeah, someone like Vitor would be like, nah, like I like this one, and he'd be like, all right,
Pick it.
sound. I wouldn't have to. I would. I don't think I'd have to worry about whatever for that. That would be good. Um, what were we saying before I had to take that quick call?
Split GD and PE into different leagues, or to have a halftime break and where you can change it's like an American football type sport where you can change your entire offense to your entire defense. So change your GE team to your PD team. You might have some keepers that you keep on the ground if if you've got the water boy on your team or something.
Hmm. Well, I don't. I don't like. I don't like splitting them because then that restricts like the amount of like open-endedness and creativity you can do with like the various bells and whistles like weeklies and bi-weeklies, because now I'm restricted to like one game, so I have to make it around the perimeters of that one game for the first few weeks, and then for the other one, and then also like i guess it would I guess it would force people to be like, okay, you have to play GE, but then so like if it's GE and then like the daily comes out and it's like it's Dan 53 and it's like, well, what do I do? Like I can't do that. Like there's no option. It's like, well, you could just play another stage, but then they might say, well, I don't want to play that stage. I want to wait for it to come up for the daily because I don't want to give that away. And then if you take it 1 month, then that cuts the potential the way it's set right now. It cuts the potential dailies in half, so it have to be 30 or so GE. So like, you're not going to get them all. So I don't like restricting it like that because I like having both at the same time because that gives you a lot of options. And plus, going back to what people said before, it's like, oh, I like that these are incentivized because I wouldn't have normally played these levels, but now I have a reason to do it in this system.
Yep.
And if I take that, if I say we're only playing this game, well then I take that freedom away, and it's back to a system where I basically force you to play this like no matter what. You have like no choice, and I don't like that idea at all. I can I can understand and sympathize that you might say if I'm starting from zero on a level in G and zero on a level in PD, and there's a lot more to gain in the PD one like relatively quicker. But I can't I can't change 20 years of history that the game's already pre-established.
And
So I can't do that.
and you say that, but in league this year there was over 2 minutes taken off the PTRs across the board.
There were.
In
And as a matter of fact, if I look at the numbers, like if I just go look at the numbers really quick, uh,
like
so like if you like they're like QWERTY and like for example QWERTY and Colton and Light are top scorers, and they played half or more of G. So
yep.
it's definitely harder to do because again, like there's 20 years of history I can't ignore. It's just there sitting on the table, but it's been changed to where it's better. It's definitely better than the old double system.
The something that would completely throw any balance out of whack. But as a half an idea, you could consider doing a different weekly for each of GE and PD. But then that, the balancing between the two, you'd hear endless complaints. Nobody would be happy with
Yeah.
whichever way it got balanced.
So the way it like the best thing to do is like it's balance the game around the whole instead of like the niche. So if I balance it around like the 99 and not like the 1%, it just works better. So if I just open it up to as many people as I can, then that's the way to go. Because there's no better way right now to like balance things other than to make it really mathy and really manual and like at the end of the day really arbitrary.
Yep.
And I think the way it is now, like it can definitely be tweaked, but like the skeleton of what it is right now is like a great compromise in most directions, I think.
So I guess I mentioned that there was 2 minutes that had come off the PD PTR. You know, like is there? I don't think quite so much came off GE, but there was definitely a fair chunk of time that came down off GE. Was there any other observations that you made about the game or the way that League happened that we haven't really got to talk about yet?
Mm, you know, at the end of the day, I'm always surprised about the levels that people like and are like attracted to because people like in PD specifically, people really loved like they loved CIPA, which I still can't believe to this day. Like it's not like it's a good level. Like it's not bad and like for playing the safe strat, it's not overly difficult, but it's just like if I were to think about it in my head, it's like, oh, like people are gonna hate that. It's hostages and warping and do shots and K7s, blah. But no, like I had double digit people tell me they like really liked the stage, couldn't believe it. A bunch of people really took to MBR, especially even Trent. They
Yep.
really liked it.
Yeah, Trent's becoming like the de facto what you need to do these days,
Yeah, like
which isn't a bad
people
thing.
people do icy to get their feet wet and then go right into the Trent,
Yeah.
which I'm surprised by, but it is way better, and eventually that will be fully the way to go. But someone like Osage is playing MBR like every day, like he loves it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have never guessed that from the
And
outset.
losing, I don't know, is it losing a second, losing 2 seconds to the power lift as well?
Yeah, exactly. Well, is it like it's probably like maybe 2 seconds. I don't really know. The thing is, like the PAL disadvantage
Hmm.
in most levels in PD is like really super overrated.
Yeah.
And speaking of a word I hate using, but it really like it just there's no better word for that. It really is. It's really not that bad in most circumstances, unless you're riding like a super long elevator, which any defection level you just happen to be doing.
Yep.
But even then, like he's got what? He's got like 1 minute flat on MBR on PAL. Like that's
Yeah.
nothing to sneeze at. That's not
Absolutely.
terrible at all.
Solid times. Yeah. Eric tells me that there's about 30 seconds taken off the game in Goldeneye as well. So, you know,
That's great.
PTRs. Oh, that's right. Including in league, B2 Agent 25 passed away, as did Surface 2 Agent 49. I think B2 Agent 25 in particular is something like even 6 months ago that was worth 20 odd points.
Yeah, and like, as we've said already, like the big Depot 26 is coming. The
It's
time's running
happening.
out.
It's happening. Yeah, I'm not all that surprised about CI. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't play PA. I couldn't play that day, or I didn't have a brain big enough to pick it up. But CISA, like I was riding the lift and still managed to score some points. You know, the combat boost is a fun mechanic. I think if you haven't played too much with it too, like you just, you know, like I joked about with the stream or something like that. You know, this is probably what Ace feels like when he's playing the game normally. You know, just time slows down.
It's just always slowed down.
Yeah,
So if he's playing a combat boost level, it's just doubled. It's
yeah,
just like he has like input delay. It's just like no, it's great. You should just play because there's a combat boost cheat that you could just play random levels with it.
oh, is there? I should go and
Yeah.
test that out.
Well, I think I don't know. Well, No, I think it gives you the combat boost, but there's definitely slow mo, which is just combat boost all the time.
Yeah. Uh,
Speaking of that, I really wish I know you have to cheat to put it in, but I really wish that PD had turbo mode. Like I really wish that was in there.
is there a turbo mode with like push button cheat or something? Or there's just
No,
no.
I don't think so. No. I
Damn.
think there may be like a Game Shark code for it,
Yep.
but there's no like unlockable turbo cheat. Which one day I woke up and I was like, for a meme, I was like, oh, I'll go do some turbo runs, and it wasn't there, and I get really sad.
We should do a meme league of some sort, turbo and slow mo and OFOS and do some sort of craziness there. That'd be
I
fun.
mean, you could definitely do that in the like the what the success of the What Weekly showed me that we could do. You could just take that concept, but then like just make this is Turbo Week. That would just roll, and whatever level spits out, it's turboed.
Yep.
Like you could do that.
Yeah. Do something like
Um,
that little mini league for the memes.
right. So, or you could do like, I mean, Ophos would be, Ophos would be a fun meme. I'd have to like, well, you could just do it the same way. Just be like, okay, if
Get
like
a
if it was
time on this day and the
if it
top.
was damn and everyone posted like a damn 5 fails, like all right, everyone gets the 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could do it that way. But
Yeah, you're penalized for not getting the time at that point.
yeah, basically. Because if on the What Weekly it had spit out damn Asian, it's like, well, if every team had got 53, like I'm paying everybody.
Deep Darkness is keen for a DLTK league or an LTK league. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's my in the post league of this. It's definitely going to be like my next. That's going to be my next big project, is I want to figure out how to make it work, because it is kind of it's complicated when the majority of people like they're going to be coming in completely like blank 0-0 on both sides, and so I have to figure out like, do you want to do raw scoring, or do you want to set it up like a checklist maybe, or set it up like one idea I thought of was tier the levels based on difficulty of like completion, and then if you complete it you get a bonus plus whatever like your point gain would be.
Yep.
There's room to do it so many ways, but then in LTK even within itself it's like unbalanced, because DLTK overall would be like the hardest to do, but even in that, not all of them are that hard to do. Like S2 DLTK, like anybody could do like right now.
Like S2
And like
DLTK is probably easier than some just LTK levels, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
well, absolutely. It's it's easier, and like it's easier than some PD LTK levels, which I've allegedly been told you just push the start button and you win. But, I
Yeah,
hate to tell you this, it's not that
you
simple,
press the red
but it
button and
does
the
help a
guys
lot.
die. That's what
Yes,
happens.
exactly. Yes, exactly. I mean,
They just fall
I won't
over.
lie to you. It is a very strong mechanic, but it's not a get out of jail free card. You still have to shoot. So there's a lot of complicated angles to like work that out. But I think I could work that out. Like, even you may have heard of this guy, but uh like I think, well, Icy dropped by in like one of my streams and we were talking about it. He told me like if he came up with a good system, it would be something that he would be interested in captaining in.
Oh, cool.
So I'm definitely interested in making it work. But since it's never been done before, what I really need to do is I need to get something out the gate that's functional and doesn't suck.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be perfect, because it probably won't be. But if it's good and it works and people like it, then it can be built on. But it's gonna take some like figuring out, because there's a lot of angles to look at. But
And
that's my next big project I want to work on.
what sort of duration are you thinking about? Like, is it going to be a month sort of long
I
or
think
two
I
months?
think a month. I think a month is reasonable to do. I don't Since it's going to be a highly experimental league. I think the shortest amount of time to like sink your teeth into it, but not overstay its welcome. I think 2 months is too long right now
Yep.
because if more people got into it and it expanded the LTK player base to the point where 2 months would be reasonable, then you could go that route. But right now, I think 1 month would probably be the best option. And once we got it more established, then maybe you could expand it. But maybe it doesn't work and it's only like a one-time thing we do. It's hard to say because it's never been done before. But we'll just have to give it a try and see what happens.
Does LTK League open up the can of worms about duel and points?
I mean, so if what I would do, like what I said before, like on difficulty of completion, in my head there would be the bottom tier, which these are the easiest ones, and those would just like not have a bonus attached to them at all. You would just complete it and get it.
Yep.
Um, Dual DLTK is actually difficult because you have to hit them
Have
in
to
the head.
headshot everyone. Yep.
And I mean, only 10 people have done it. Now you could say like, well, it's LTK, no one plays it. Well, yeah. Again, I can't really help that, can I? I didn't make no one play it.
Yeah.
But it is definitely way harder because I mean, and for LTK9, you could just shoot them in the damn baby toe and get it. But hitting Trent in his bean-sized head on the LTK is way harder.
I guess I'm also intending to post up about setting up a PD Cup at sometime soon as well. I haven't actually planned out when to run that yet, but that's something else that I'm thinking about setting up because the GE Cup seemed to be pretty well liked.
So, oh, the GE Cup was a hit.
So yeah, I think
like it actually supplanted like. I thought a leader percent was going to be the wave, but GE Cup supplanted it in every way. Like everyone was into that.
Yeah, Cup worked out really well. Like it was a half idea that I had, and it seemed to come on, which was good. So,
and I like the Cup because you can make your own house rules and do that. It has lots of versatility.
Yeah,
you can just tweak it.
Exactly, do whatever the hell you want. Like sort of Dinah and Gamer Girl just had a friendly match last week. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I'm actually thinking about. I might be able to sign up for it. I know half of the levels probably well enough to almost do that.
If you run that, I think I might have to plug in my controller for that.
And the other thing that's good about Cup rather than like an RTA style race is even if I don't learn all of the levels perfectly, like I'm only losing 1 point potentially. Like I know that I'm going to lose that level, but doesn't mean that the whole match is void just if I do that. Which
it's not a wash. It's been okay. Well, I can't get that one, but we'll just try the next one.
Which is also the reason I think people would want me to cancel PAL so that Deep Sea doesn't become wonky. But I'm planning on leaving PAL in there for one. So that our friends like Deep Darkness or Oze, who have only got PAL, can still take part. And for two, it's just like it's a tactic, right? Like if you're lucky enough to have access to both systems, you're probably losing something somewhere to gain it on Deep Sea, because it doesn't matter whether you finish Deep Sea 40 seconds in front or not; it's still only worth 1 point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because you're gonna be like you're gonna be disadvantaged on because it's gonna be agent, right? So you'd be disadvantaged on infill agent, not because of the 2 lists, but the door at the end shut.
Yep.
And then extraction and those kind of deals. Plus, I like if it was NTSC, but then people have to play Deep Sea like the NTSC way. Like I like that.
Well, that
would be a wrinkle.
That's what that's one of the other things that I'm looking forward to out of it. Like the same thing out of GE League. Like people had to play out terrible runs just to be able to get the point.
Because if you have to play, if in like G, it's like, well, they have to play Frigate. Like if we don't arbitrarily ban Frigate because it's Frigate, then we shouldn't remove like Deep Sea or like other RNG levels because it's like that's the way it goes.
Yeah. So to see some people having to complete NTSC Deep Sea is going to be fun, you know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. So I don't know the timing on that. Probably into September sometime before we kick that off. But I might post the sign up thread for that soon, so we can start getting
Yeah.
names in.
Yep. Let it let league breathe a little bit and then slide
Exactly,
it in.
exactly. Yeah, people need a bit of a breather after league. So but that's the other thing that I'm thinking about setting up. Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to talk about before we wrap up for this
Yeah,
evening, this morning?
I want to go through some of the weeklies or like some aspects of weeklies that I did not we haven't got a chance to mention yet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So let's see. So because I saw this come up a couple of times. So like the one weekly um near the end where it's like everyone on your team like posts 5 PRs.
Yep,
Because I saw a couple things about that.
there were, yes.
And like, so that was actually put there. It was put there at the end, like intentionally, like to be hard, because obviously that would be difficult to do, probably even at the start, because
Yep.
not everyone can have everyone that play like get 5 PRs in a week. Like I know that would be hard to do for 100% of people. But I put it there at the end intentionally because I wanted it to be hard because I wanted it to be like a potential reward for like if you were still in it, your entire team was still engaged and everyone else wasn't, then it's like, oh, we can just pick this up and you just run off with it and it's your baby, like like I got this. You know what I mean?
A test of the star
Um
system,
yeah,
almost.
but it didn't in retrospect, like it didn't work because no one was no one had that many people engaged like at the end, and you never know, like it could have worked out because if at the end group therapy and like Oxley were within like 50 points of each other, then maybe it would have happened, but it didn't. If I were to, I probably wouldn't. If I were to use that again, it probably wouldn't be so late and it would probably be tweaked. But the reason it was put at the end and it was worth so much because like I knew it would be hard to pull that off. So that's why it was put there like that. And you never know what'll be a hit or a miss. And it didn't work out because nobody got it. But I liked the idea of it, but maybe the timing was just off.
And Yendis has just dropped in the chat saying that yeah, he would have pushed people pretty hard if it would have made the difference in the battle. So
Yeah. If they were still within 200 of each other instead of like 2K, then it probably would have gunned for it more.
yep.
But you never know how things shake out. Let's see, what's another
Oh,
one?
we haven't talked about team numbers or team depth, being able to
Oh,
drop
yeah,
players or pick players up.
we haven't done that. So it's kind of a tricky balance. It's kind of a tricky balance because first of all, you got to look at you know like I was super excited about this league because like the talent depth was so deep that I was like, well, we could have 10 teams. So like, if 10 people want to captain, like, why not give it a try?
Yep.
And it worked because you've seen like people drafted these deep teams and like they worked out. Um, maybe like maybe 10 like is too many. Like I definitely wouldn't go over 10. Like I wouldn't go over 10 ever again. I think I would leave it at 10 maximum because if we have a huge influx of players between now and next year, then that's just more potential people. So maybe the way to end up doing it is like make it a A team, but just give everyone an extra slot. So it's only a decrease of like a few players. Because then you could still have that active undercurrent of people are trying to get in.
Yep.
Because like we said before, not 100% of people are going to be engaged or able to play 100% of the time. So I think it's good to have people that participate and want to get in, but it's good to have that undercurrent of people that are, playing is like, oh, I want to get in, and it's like, oh, this guy says he can't play for 2 weeks, let me bring him in, or this guy's going on vacation. I'll bring that guy and I can get you back when you come back.
Yep.
Like, that may be the healthier way to go in the end. But doing it the way we did this time, at least we know like what 10, 11 teams looks like. Because we knew plenty before what 7, 8 teams looks like. Now we know what extra teams looks like. So now we can kind of mold it the way that most people like to do it.
Yep. Here's a half an idea that's just popped into my head as you're talking about it. Is you keep team sizes basically the same, but you could introduce like a legacy tier and a noob tier. So in your legacy tier, if you had a PB before 2006, then you can get picked in the legacy tier as an extra player. If you're a noob, you got 0 points. So somebody like Jackstar, who got picked up by Shadow Fuctus, you get picked up in the noob tier. Could be some way to get some of those less active or older players involved, but still have shorter team lists, and amongst the active players have some sort of pick up and drop impacts.
That could be an idea, because that's kind of like in baseball, in one of the leagues they have the designated hitter, which hits instead of like the pitcher hitting.
Yep.
So instead of just some guys like, how do I even hold the bat? You have some guy that actually knows what he's doing, goes out there and just cranks it. So like, that could work, because then if you wanted to go with that idea, then that could be like a highlighted player. It's like, oh, this is my fresh young player. Want to get him in, take him under my wing, show him like these things. Like, that could work. Or like with the legacy player, you could take like a whiff, or a Golden Vins, have like a dino.
Yeah.
Have like a dino slot. Like, that could be an idea, and that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, it's just a hard...
that way, if they're not playing, then they can only hurt you. But I guess, but you could have to work that out, but you could make that happen.
Yeah, just a half idea. Anything else that we haven't covered off?
So I really love the What Weekly, but one thing that kind of happened that I didn't intend to happen was I kind of had it structured off where it's like, okay, if you get points from this, then you can't play again for the rest of the week. But that had the unintended consequence of like people playing it, but they're like, oh, like I don't want to post it, but only get like the 25. So like I'm just not gonna submit. So I didn't really like that. So
yep.
That would, we could obviously tweak that for the future, because I like that weekly a lot, and some people did too. But I could see why no one would like that aspect of it. I don't either. So just kind of tweak that. Maybe make it if you got like first. So if you got the full 100, then maybe you're out.
Yeah.
Because then everyone could still like participate that way. But anything can really be tweaked and improved, like looking at it. So things that worked but had like a kind of like a dodgy aspect to it, like definitely look at that and tweak it.
I think most people were really keen on that conceptually, and then the knocked out after you've scored points was a bit tricky. But I'm assuming that the thought process there was the same as most of the other ones, trying to keep it engaged across the entire team, and wasn't just a carry by one person.
Right, because every single weekly was constructed with the mindset of like I want these to be big team weeklies, everyone getting together, and it's like the one where it was fill your NAs or your zeros and get points on them.
Yep.
For that one, where it's like, okay, what do you have? Oh, I know how to play this. Let me help you do that. These are my NAs. I'm going to do that. Where it's not one person could, because A, one person's not going to have 2 blank times pages, and B, they're not going to get points on 120 levels in a week.
Yeah.
So one person can't like screw that up. Like one person can't overwhelm that. So every change and every weekly was designed with the fact of we want an entire team to contribute and work towards that goal. So it's not a one man army sort of situation. So the restriction on that was put in where his mind is like, I don't want one person to win the what of the day every single day, like, and their team gets 700. Like, didn't want that because that's a
Yeah,
huge deal.
be over the top. I guess the other comment that I'll make is it was pretty clear when some of the captains had put in a lot of effort into drafting, because neither Samo nor Yendis had the top 4 or 5 rounds. I think they weren't picking they weren't the first early rounds of the draft anyway, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They didn't just pick the top round beast players. They had their list of picks and went through them and did really well off the back of that.
Right, because they look at their sheet and they say, all right, like I'm not getting a Will, I'm not getting a and they have to say like I'm not getting a Will, I'm probably not getting like a Colton, so I have to go through the list and see like take what I'm given, and take what's the best that's available or for the best for my situation. Because you look at like Samo he hit on like Fork, he hit on like late people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dynamic DJ, like he wasn't just a loaf of bread. He was getting in the mix. So
yeah, I think that came through pretty well. But we've been at this for like an hour and a half already, so doesn't look like there's any more questions coming in from chat at the moment before I give you any chance to sign things or wrap things up. Any other comments that you want to add in, Mr. Wood?
yeah, like at any time, if anyone has like a question or a suggestion or like things of that nature, like I may not want to do it because I personally may not like it, or like I may not like the philosophy behind it, but like I try to be like when I'm running something, I try to be open and transparent about it. So if you have a suggestion, it's like, hey, I think this might work. Like you can just post it or DM it to me, and like we can discuss it or talk about it because like I can't come up with every idea. I didn't even come up with every idea. Like I was talking with like Gendis and some people. It's like, do you think like for like weeklies example, like we came up with someone's like, do you think this would work, or what do you think about this? So like you can come up with things that I hadn't even thought of that I'm like, oh, that's a wonderful idea. Let's go with that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty open and transparent about that. So anytime you want to hit my line, like just send it over. I'll get back to you at some point.
Cool. Well, from me and all the other players and all of the observers, I'm sure too, thanks for all the effort that you put in for organising it, because it's I know that it's not zero effort by any means. It's far out the other end, and it's all just for the rest of us to be able to enjoy ourselves. It's all just for some fun. So thanks for both you and Sharp for throwing all that together, and Spag for setting up a sheet, and Bands for doing the bot, and all of the work that has to go in behind the scenes to do that, and all the thinking and all that kind of stuff too.
Exactly. Especially like Sharp, doing the manual tracking and coming up with those sheets and like those cute little stat pages where it shows like, people like this is how many percentage points they got in Perfect Dark and all that, and like the math is kind of fucky because I mean it's Google spreadsheet, but I mean I didn't even like no one suggested he did that. He just came up with that and put it there. So like definitely
cool
coming up with like he's definitely did all the little things that like made the clock keep ticking, and I'm super grateful for that, and super thankful for Bands and Spaguda with the bot things, because again I can't make a bot. I've no fucking clue,
You-
and I don't have the keys to the catalog. But they're like, oh yeah, I'll put that in for take. They took time out of theirs. Like, yeah, you can use this. Yeah, I'll put that up there for you as well. Like, I'm super thankful for everything that all three of them and anyone else has done. Anyone that came with an idea that got used, like, thank you guys for everything. Because and for the players for engaging in it, because ultimately that's what makes it work in the first place.
And there's a lot of I stole a bit of that from chat, but there's quite a few people popping off in chat to say thanks. So I don't think there's anything else to say. We can just wrap it up there. So thanks for coming on and having a chat, mate.
Oh yeah, exactly. It was great as it ever was. At a certain point, I might as well just be like you're like the late night talk show host, and I should just be the sidekicks over there cracking wise as often as I'm around. So I might as well do that for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure which of us talked more in this one, which isn't a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. All right.
But yeah, only other thing to say really is to wrap it up is it was a great experience, and as for Standard League, see you in 2021.
See you in 2021. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, we got another hit. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock, and I've had the last 4 days off of work, and I'm not looking forward to going back in the morning. So yeah, about 30 minutes from now, yeah, I should probably be in the bed. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna wrap it up here. All right, see you, Cal.
Are you serious?